Hi, I'm Pryde. Today I'm going to run you through a little rigging and basic tuning guide for the RS Racing Evo 3 and the RSSLALOM Mark IV. There's a few features on these sails that are different to previous years that I will explain the details of during the rigging video. This video will make it easy for you to rig your product, use it, and make sure you don't damage it in the process. So we're going to start with unrolling the sail, then take both pieces of the mast, put them together and make sure that they're joined all the way. Then we're going to insert the mast into the luff sleeve, where we're going to keep the mast above the battens and not thread the cams onto the mast, just like we have been doing on the previous RS Racings for the last couple of years. So when we're inserting the mast into the sail, we want to not thread it on the cams. As you can see, the cams are right here, and we want to put it above the sail body and above the batten. So you can see the mast is right here, the sail body is right here, and then here's the other side of the sleeve. So we want to put it on top of the sail body, inside the sleeve, not threading on the cams. I'm going to push the mast in, but rather than holding the handle and forcing the mast all the way to the top of the sail, which could damage the sleeve, we're going to walk up to the boom opening, grab the mast with one hand through the boom opening, and reach up with the other hand as far as we can, and push it in, and then right away the head cap will lock into the top of the mast. Then we just walk down here, pull some of the slack out of the sail, and then we can quickly walk up to the top of the sail and make sure that the head cap is engaged in the top of the mast. We're going to set the extension to the recommended setting as printed on the bottom of the sail. Insert it into the mast. Then an easy way to access the pulleys if we simply fold the tack fairing all the way up. And you can see how the pulleys are nicely exposed, making it easy to thread the downhaul line. We recommend you use the MXT base, as threading of the MXT base is really easy, because it has a nose that you can just throw the rope around rather than feeding it all the way through. And also it's specially designed to match with our triple roller tack pulley on the bottom of the RS Racing to allow for easy downhauling. So we're going to pull some downhaul until the mast is about exposed through the boom opening, so that we can easily put the boom onto the sail. So when we put the boom onto the mast, it's really easy. We just reach into the mast, reach into the boom opening, grab the mast and simply kind of spoon it out like that with your hand. Then it becomes really easy to put the boom around, because with this finger right here you can take the clamp and push it around the mast and easily put the rope around and then just snap it down. We want to make sure that we put it just about center of the boom opening, because we're going to be releasing the downhaul to be able to get the cams onto the mast. So we don't want the bottom of the boom opening to be running into the boom, which could damage the sail. Also, we don't want to have it too high, because after the cams are on, we're going to apply full downhaul to the sail, which could mean that the top part would hit the boom and might damage. So make sure it's about center, close the boom up, and then we'll walk to the clew and we're ready to put some outhaul onto this thing. We want to make sure that we set the boom plenty long enough so that we can, easily put the boom on, and then we can just extend it out, open the link at the back of the sail, slide the boom in to the recommended setting, and attach the outhaul line. Then we add, so neutral is where the sail wants to sit just by itself. From there we want to add about 5 cm of outhaul so that it's nice and easy to pop the cams onto the mast, and then we can close the link at the back of the sail. So we pull the tab, push the spring out of the way and open it just like that. To close it, we engage the one closest to the back edge of the sail first, push the spring so that we can get the other one into the hole and lock it around the tooth, and we're all locked into place. Pull the cover over the top and we're all ready to go. So here we're going to release all the downhaul tension. As you can see, the tension from the outhole is causing some friction on the front of the extension here on the tack fairing, not allowing the sail to go up any further. So we simply push against here, and we can use the handle on the front and pull it up so that there's lots of slack in the sail, so that really all the downhole tension is released from the sail. Then we're going to put the cams on, starting with the cam above the boom. We simply push on the edge where the sleeve is attached to the sail body. We push down, and then with the other hand we push up and forward and push the cam onto the mast. This cam should be very easy. This cam we do the same thing, push on the edge of the luff sleeve and push the cam up and forward. And then for the bottom cam, we're going to reach into the sleeve and push right here just behind the cam and push the cam up and forward onto the mast. And now we're ready to add some downhole tension. So from here we basically go straight to recommended setting or personal preferred settings on the downhole. So that the downhole basically is completely done. So once we're done, we can just fold the line up and tuck it in our extension. So before closing the zippers, we quickly want to see, because sometimes when you add the downhole tension, the cam will get stuck on the mast and would be on an angle that would load one side of the cam, and the cam could slowly cut into the mast. So we want to make sure that the cam is square to the mast so that there's an even loading and a big bearing surface so we don't damage the mast or your cam. Then we can close the zipper, and we can just quickly do that for all the cams to make sure we're not damaging either our mast or our cam. When all the rigging is done, we can set the boom to our preferred setting, wherever that may be. Close the boom up, and then we can close the zipper on the front. What the purpose of the zipper is two things. One, it won't allow air to come into the luff sleeve and blow up the luff sleeve and creating drag. The second thing is, if the sail were to be submerged in the water for a short amount of time, not so much water would get into the sleeve, keeping water starting relatively easy. So de-rigging is pretty simple. Basically it's rigging but then backwards. So the only thing that's different is putting the cams on and off the mast. So we're just going to show you quickly how to de-rig the sail and make sure you don't break any battens or damage anything else in the process. So the first thing we're going to do when we de-rig is simply remove the boom from the sail. So we release all the outhole tension, we open the link at the back of the sail, then we open the boom and pull it out so that it goes past the back of the sail here. So we just pull it out plenty far enough so you can pivot it around the sail. Then we come to the front of the sail, and since we come to the front of the sail anyway, we might as well open the zippers right away, because we want to have the zippers open for when we release the downhole tension so that the cams can pop off the mast nice and easily. Then we simply take the boom off the mast, and that part's done. Once the boom is removed from the sail, we follow the tack fairing and make sure before you release the downhole that you take the tack strap off the bottom of the base. Forgetting to remove the tack strap off the bottom of the base and releasing the downhole tension could possibly tear off the whole tack strap, because this is not made to hold the load of the downhole tension. Then we pull the rope out of the extension. Simply put our foot on top of the extension and just pull it up and out of the cleat. Slowly releasing the downhole tension so that the cams can gently pop off the mast. If the cams don't pop off the mast, we might want to give them a little bit of help. The best thing to do is to give the bottom one a little help first, and then usually most of them will all go, as you can see. Once that's done, take the extension out and take the mast out by rotating the mast and slowly just pulling it out of the sail. Once the cams are off the mast, it's really easy to remove the mast from the sail. The other trick we can use, all Neil Pryde sails feature a little de-rigging loop at the top of the sail. You just poke the screwdriver through it and pull the mast out that way, whichever way you prefer. Once that's done, we can roll up the sail, starting at the top. The trick to get a nice tight roll is to tuck in this little top piece, tuck it in nice and tight, and start a nice tight roll right away. Having the sail rolled nice and tightly will make it nice and solid so that in transportation it doesn't wrinkle up that much. When we're rolling up the sail, sometimes the sail will want to be like this. We got to make sure that the crease in the sleeve is at the seam that's at the very leading edge. That will keep everything in a nicely shaped and will keep your sail in a good condition for a long time. Once the sail's all the way rolled up, we can take the string out of the tack fairing, put it around the toggle. It's going to hold the sail rolled up real nice and tightly.